Okay, now Saquon Barkley, James Franklin, and the Philadelphia Eagles and the tampering story. Now it's a story. Right? Dismissed it yesterday because the Giants weren't pushing. The NFL hadn't acknowledged whether or not they're going to investigate. But now the NFL is investigating them and the Atlanta Falcons. The Eagles are getting invested, of course, for Saquon Barkley. And James Franklin doing something called dry snitching, I believe is the term. When you snitch and you don't even realize that you're snitching. I'll give you a personal example of this a little bit later in the show. But we have the smoking gun from James Franklin, which totally, if James Franklin and what he's saying is found to be 100% accurate, then the Eagles will get maybe dock draft picks, fined, whatever the case may be. And obviously I don't want that to happen. Now, here's the deal. I don't think this is going to happen. Are the Eagles or the NFL going to confiscate the Eagles' cell phones? Are they going to confiscate Saquon Barkley's cell phone? What's the deal there? How do you prove something like this? Do they have the right to do this? Is it in the CBA for them to do it? So we'll look at all that. But James Franklin, we have the smoking gun that, according to what he said, absolutely, it sounds pretty bad for the Eagles. Saquon Barkley was asked about it yesterday during the press conference. We have plenty of Saquon Barkley for you today during the show. You'll hear from Saquon Barkley and all the things he said yesterday at his press conference. Everything was great, including talking about the tampering. If Saquon Barkley was asked about the tampering yesterday and he said, I don't want to get into it, there's an investigation, then I would be really worried. But he offered an explanation for what really went down, and oddly enough, it was almost exactly what I said yesterday. So we'll get into that. The Eagles signed a linebacker, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Devin White. He was a 5th overall pick in 2019. That was the same year the Philadelphia Eagles took Andre Dillard in the first round. Not great. The funny thing, I see it come up last night. Ian Rappaport had the story. $7.5 million up to max deal, $7.5 million. Okay. So that means that obviously there's incentives that are going to be a part of this, which every contract has that, but up to $7.5 million. Yesterday, when I was on with our friend Bill Colarulo on the Philly Sports Power Hour, he was asking me about linebackers. And we talked about linebackers on the show last night or yesterday. And one of the linebackers that was mentioned was Devin White. I think Sean Kilrain brought it up to us in the chat. Shout out, Sean. And I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I wouldn't mind rolling the dice on Devin White, bring him into the fold, see what he's got. The guy did get benched last year, right? Did have an injury last year. Tried to work out a trade, and it didn't work out, unfortunately, for him and the Bucs. But a dice roll. So here's the thing, though. Okay, so Bill described everything to me about Devin White, and I said, you just described the exact type of player the Eagles would go at. And he laid all the things out that I just laid out in front of you there. And I said, you just described the exact type of player that the Eagles would go after. Now, here's my thing. I have no problem with taking a guy that has that pedigree, being a 5th overall pick, already having a Super Bowl ring in his back pocket, a guy that can get after the quarterback and blitz and all that stuff. That's not going to happen in a Vic Fangio defense, as we know. But at least has that ability, that part of his game with his speed and all that stuff. Maybe the fresh start is what he needs. Getting benched last year, definitely not what he needs. Maybe this fresh start is what he needs. However, if I am rolling the dice on a change of scenery, that doesn't seem to be somebody that is worth $7.5 million. Now, again, if it's incentive-based, if it's really like a $4 million base salary or a $3 million base salary, whatever, then I feel a little bit better about it. But here's what sticks in my call, right? TJ Edwards was a good linebacker for this team. You know how much money he's making this year? I'll give you a guess. It's really close to what Devin White is going to be making on the max deal. Actually, it's exactly what Devin White could make, I should say, on the max deal. 7.5. TJ Edwards, a guy you know could play well. Going into next year, TJ Edwards is your middle linebacker again. You at least know you have a middle linebacker who can play. There's no huge question mark there. I don't know what the Eagles are going to get out of Devin White. I know what they could get. Oh, man, this fresh start. Oh, man, the change of scenery. Yeah, okay. All right. I'm going to cross my fingers for that. Meanwhile, $7.5 million. Doesn't seem great, y'all. Doesn't seem great. I could be Paulie Pom-Poms and be like, spent $7.5 million on a linebacker, $26 million guaranteed on a running back. The Eagles have changed philosophy. They haven't changed philosophy. It's still a dice roll with Devin White. The past Devin White, LSU Devin White, that's a fun Devin White. That's a nice Devin White to have. Post Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Devin White. TJ Edwards is going to make the same amount of money as Devin White this year. And you know what? That's almost hopefully going to make the same amount of money. Because that means that if Devin White hits those incentives, he's actually playing pretty well. Either that or if it's like a snaps incentive or something like that, the Eagles just have a lack of options. So that's the scary part of it all. When you talk about Devin White coming here to Philly. Hey, look. The positive, the Eagles have spent money in two positions we've never really seen them spend money in. Running back, linebacker. Okay. They needed a linebacker. I expected them to still go the cheap route. And maybe in a week or two, maybe after the draft, if Zach Cunningham's still available, they bring him back. I expected something like that. The only thing I don't like about the Devin White acquisition is that 7.5. If that is a lower number, if it does come out that the base salary is much lower than that, the guaranteed money, if you will, is much lower than that, then all right, dice roll. Fine. At least they addressed the position. At the worst of it, you've added depth with a guy that could have a pretty big upside. So just to sum up the Eagles linebacking, middle linebacking positions, okay, here you go. Ben Von Sumeren, you're hoping for a nice upside. Okay. Nakobe Dean, you're hoping for a nice upside. Devin White, you're now hoping for a huge upside. Yesterday, when we looked at the Eagles linebacker position, we said, man, there's a lot of questions there. I got questions about the Eagles linebackers. Now, after apparently spending up to $7.5 million, let's call it that, I still have questions about the Eagles linebacking position. But I'm still hopeful also. I would have been happier if the Eagles just would have just said, fine, we're signing TJ Edwards a year ago to a 3-year deal. You look at the last two before this year, not including Nakobe Dean, not including Zach Cunningham, all that. You look at before this year, Alex Singleton, okay, led the team, was one of the leading tacklers in the NFL. Led the team in tackles here in Philadelphia. Ended up losing that job essentially to TJ Edwards. Alex Singleton goes on. He signs a 3-year, $18 million deal with the Broncos. Then the following year, TJ Edwards takes over in full here in Philadelphia. He does a good job, plays in the Super Bowl for the Eagles, and then all of a sudden, the Eagles never offer him a deal, according to him and according to other sources. Clay Harbor, a friend of this show, the TJ Edwards fellow. He goes over to Chicago. He signs a 3-year, $18 million deal. Signing a linebacker, or really anyone, to a position on more than a 1-year deal shows you have at least some sort of confidence in that player. It shows a little bit of stability. The Eagles could have solved this problem with a minimal deal for a good linebacker. And now what do we have? We have still questions. We just have questions when it comes to Devin White. I'm going to point out, I'm going to go to our friend, Thomas Peterson, Thomas R. Peterson, who's been on the show many times. And Thomas pointed this out on social media yesterday. I think it's worth noting. Okay. So the Eagles have brought in Bryce Huff. And Bryce Huff is going to get an opportunity this year to prove himself against the run. He spoke about it yesterday. We'll talk about it on the show today. But he's going to get an opportunity here to show that he can play against the run. Rarely did it when he was with the New York Jets. Devin White now being brought in as a middle linebacker. If anything, you want a middle linebacker to be pretty damn good against the run. All right. Now, his speed is what has made him have a successful college career and obviously get him into the pros and all that. But against the run, here's the rankings the last 4 seasons with Devin White against the run. 2020, 4th worst. 2021, 2nd worst. 2022, 4th worst. Last season, worst against the run. Not great. Not great. We have this. I still got questions. I'm happy the Eagles are addressing it, obviously, but still got questions. A lot of questions about whether or not this linebacking core, if you will, especially the middle linebacker position, the depth chart will be up to snuff when the season starts. Eagles and tampering. Let's get into it. First, ladies and gentlemen, the smoking gun. James Franklin at a press conference earlier in the week during the quote-unquote legal tampering period might have done some dry snitching on the Philadelphia Eagles. Here is verbatim. Here is James Franklin on the Eagles and Saquon Barkley talking.
And be able to play within the state, in Philadelphia. He said that was one of the first things that Howie said to him on the phone as part of kind of his sales pitch to him. Was not only the Philadelphia Eagles and that, but obviously the connection with Penn State and the fan bases as well.
All right. Howie said to him on the phone, in case you couldn't hear that, Howie said to him on the phone. That's the smoking gun. The rule for what's tampering and what's not tampering, even legal tampering, what's illegal during legal tampering is for the GM to speak directly to the player. Howie, obviously the GM, Saquon, obviously the player, spoke to him on the phone. That's what he told him on the phone. That is illegal. That will get the Eagles in trouble if that is exactly happened. Now, according to Saquon Barkley, and what he had to say to the media yesterday, not so fast there, James Franklin. It's not exactly how it went down. Here's Saquon being asked the question about the tampering that is allegedly being investigated. Well, that is being investigated by the NFL.
They're investigating James saying you talked to Nick during the process. Can you address that at all?
Yeah, Coach Franklin, I think he kind of misinterpreted. The truth was the sell pitch to Penn State, how many Penn State fans are Philadelphia Eagles fans, but that was through my agent, and my agent told me that. So, it happens, and I'm let the Philly in on that.
What do you?
Coach didn't get it exactly right. All right. The situation I laid out for you yesterday was pretty much just what you heard there from Saquon Barkley. That coach might have got things a little messed up. Come on, coach. Yes, someone else with the Eagles or the Howie Roseman to Saquon Barkley's agent. Hey, by the way, tell Saquon this. That very simple is how that could happen. So if James Franklin gets approached by the NFL, well, if the NFL is going to do any due diligence, any type of legit investigation, you're obviously going to talk to the guy that allegedly has the smoking gun, and that's James Franklin. And I think James Franklin just got things mixed up. That's all. That's all. And that's very possible. This is a third party, essentially, that is saying something that didn't really happen the way it did. And to me, what makes more sense is I don't think it's not Howie Roseman's first day on the job, okay? I don't think Howie Roseman understands the do's and don'ts. Don't get caught up doing these little things that you can avoid. Like, for instance, speaking directly to the player. Have the go-between, speak to the agent, cross your T's, dot your I's, all that. Cross your lowercase J's as well. That's what he'll do. Howie Roseman will see it through. I don't think Howie Roseman violated any rules here. That's not me being Paulie Pom-Poms. That's just me trying, really trying to be as honest as I can with you, about what really happened. Does it make sense to you that Howie Roseman will violate the rule? It doesn't make sense to me. The guy's, again, it's not his first day on the job. It ain't his first rodeo. I don't think he's going to get caught doing something that blatantly stupid where it's an obvious rule you don't break. Legal tampering, illegal procedure is basically what the Eagles could get called for here. But I don't see it happening. I think James Franklin stepped in it. I think he dry snitched in some way. Is it dry snitching still if it's not true? That's one thing I gotta, because somebody called me once for dry fishing. That's dry fishing. Fish were already just flopping around out there. The pond evaporated. No. All right. Somebody called me once for and said I dry snitched. And I said, well, what do you mean? And the situation was, I met a girl I went to high school with She introduced me to a guy at a game. She's like, "Oh, this is my boyfriend, whatever." And I was like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Mark. Nice to meet you." And I bumped into her at I think it was a Wings game. I was doing a Wings game, and then I bumped into her again like 2 months later, and it was at a Sixers game, and she was with who I thought was the same guy. Oh, Mark, and I'm like, no, we met at the Turns out it was cool. It was a friend, and her boyfriend knew that she was at the game with this guy. But someone was like, "You got dry snitching." I'm like, what are you talking about? This was some years ago. And I was like, is that dry snitching? Because I didn't know. Is it dry snitching if you don't know? Or is that what makes it dry snitching? And does it have to be true? That's my question for the dry snitch. My feeling is that it has to be true. Either that, it's just spreading rumors, and that's what James Franklin's doing. All right, before I go any further with the tampering, my take on it is that if anyone says something in a public forum like that with James Franklin, the NFL has to investigate it. That's kind of my take on the situation. If somebody is at a microphone and says in a public forum like James Franklin did how he talked to the player, how he talked to Saquon, you gotta at least look under the hood. Nothing here? Okay, fine. See you. Boom. Close up. So that's the way that goes down. A couple other things Saquon Barkley got into that I think people are really going to enjoy. This is him talking about when he knew the Eagles were interested in what it meant to him.
Yeah, when it came to my attention, that the Eagles were one of the teams that were interested in me. I definitely got excited about it. Obviously, we got everything wrapped up and just put my signature to the paper, but. From watching from afar, everything that they're about, the culture here, the fans here, definitely got super excited about it, and I'm just happy to be a part of this organization, and I'm ready to go.
There you go, baby. There you go. Just happy to be part of it. I found it interesting that the word culture came up. With Saquon, it came up with Bryce Huff, and it came up with Zach Bond. When all three addressed the media yesterday. And I was thinking about that because if you guys didn't see the video, the Eagles almost immediately, when Saquon arrived at the NovaCare complex, put out a video. And who was there waiting for Saquon Barkley? Brandon Graham. Now BG, just for the sake of accuracy, okay, BG said he just happened to be on his way out. They said Saquon was going to be showing up, and he's like, I'm hanging out. Saquon shows up. There's Brandon Graham. There's Saquon Barkley. Giving the old bro hug, all right? The embrace and the slap on the back and all that stuff. Kellen Moore was out there shaking hands with Saquon Barkley. Beautiful thing. All was wonderful. All was wonderful. But that's part of the culture. That's part of the culture. I know Jason Kelsey's not here. Fletcher Cox isn't here. Having Brandon Graham for at least one more year, having Brandon Graham here is a great bridge. I know Lane Johnson's still here. Jordan Mailata has been here for more than a minute. He understands the culture here. Landon Dickerson understands the culture here, obviously. You have a guy like Jalen Hurts who is trying to set the culture here and maybe be a little bit more emotionally intelligent with some of the players in the locker room. Darius Slay understands the culture here. I think we all understand the culture here. The culture took a huge hit at the end of last season. One of the things I was going to be listening for yesterday was the buzzword culture. Culture last year, whether it was DeAndre Swift, whether it was Katavius Street, every player the Eagles brought in, culture. Last year, easy sell. This year, the way the season ended, not so much. So hearing everyone talk about it again yesterday made me feel a little bit better about what the culture could bring here in Philadelphia. Now, as far as what Saquon brings to the table here in Philadelphia, one thing that we definitely want to hear is a guy understanding where he's at. Saquon Barkley understands. He said one of the important things was, it being in Allentown, like an hour away from Philly, hour and 20 minutes away from Philly. He loves being this close to, he can go to grandma's, close to his parents, close to his family. Thanksgiving, you can go there, he absolutely loves it. But one of the things he was also asked about was all the weapons here in Philly. What does it mean for Saquon Barkley when he looks around and he sees Jalen Hurts, he sees A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, sees this offensive line, Dallas Goedert tight end, all these weapons? What does it mean for him, and how will it affect his game?
I think, for the point I am in my career, just to be able to get a fresh start is good, something new, different excitement. I feel like I'm a rookie all over again. It's a new team meeting, it's a new strength, it's a new locker room, everything. But also just being around, talented guys, especially on the offensive side of the ball. You got Jalen, you got AJ, Devontae, a tremendous offensive line. And I feel like I'm a special player. I feel like I still got a lot left, and I got a lot to prove. And I just can't wait to get on the field with those guys and prove it and show it to the world.
You got a lot to prove, do you? You had 2,000 yards your rookie year. You've had 3,000-yard seasons. You've made your Pro Bowls. You've made a lot of Pro Bowls already. You made 3 Pro Bowls. And last year you came back after a high ankle sprain, and you still did pretty damn well for those New York Giants in a lost season. Why do you still feel like you have to prove? Ruben Frank, NBC Sports Philly, asked him the question. Here's what he said.
That's who I am. And hopefully I'm able to show that to you guys and to this organization and to, the fans and everyone in Philly. I'm a competitor, and I want to go out there, I want to compete, and I want to win, and it means that much to me. No matter if I'm hurt, no matter what, I'm living a dream. I wanted to do this since I was a little kid. My dad and my mom, my parents and brothers and sisters can attest to that this is something that I take pride in. So no matter what, I want to be out there. People want to be in my position and go out there playing the game of football. I'm playing a child's game and getting paid pretty well for it. So,
all right. Is that not the attitude you want every single athlete, every single athlete that comes to this city? Is that not the mindset you want them to have? I appreciate what I'm doing. I love what I'm doing. I don't take for granted 1 second what I do. That 2,000-yard season, rookie of the year. Okay, offensive rookie of the year. Not too shabby. 2 Pro Bowls for Saquon Barkley. I have him as the top 3. At worst, top 3 in the NFL. All around running backs. I don't think you have much to prove. I just want to keep seeing you prove it. But I don't want him to have that mindset. I want him to keep on thinking, no, next level. I can keep going. Next level. I can keep going. He talked about 27 years old, the workload he's had over the last 4 seasons, why he can still be at that high level. He said he takes a lot of pride in his body, takes a lot of pride in how he prepares himself. That's something that he's absolutely looking into this year that he could keep on bringing to the table every single season. He got into that conversation. There we go. I have notes on the press conference. Got in that conversation about how he prepares his body. And then finally, this last one from Saquon Barkley. This is my favorite cut of the press conference because, you hear the question from Zach Berman. It's about money. The Eagles investing money in the position. And Saquon is just happy to not be talking about that anymore.
Has often been that the Eagles haven't invested resources in this position. When they reached out to you to make that type of investment, what was your reaction at that time?
My reaction was, I was super happy that I have an opportunity to come back and stay close to home and play for a great team and just ready to get the business side off of it. The last 2 years, I feel like, so many people will come up to me and, about me getting tagged or talk about contract or even leading up to this. And now all that's, that's done. The business side is done, and we can keep the main thing, and that's going out there, playing football and winning football games.
The main thing. All right. Get on the same page as your quarterback there, Saquon Barkley. I ain't mad at you for it. Fantastic. But even better, it ain't the money. I know some people just can't identify with it. I can't identify with it, but I think I can understand it. Once you get the negotiating done, I think you're just happy to have that off your plate. I think some people, and it might happen, and it probably has happened with some athletes. I'd probably do the same thing. If somebody said, here's a contract, and on this contract, you're fully guaranteed $26 million. Yeah, you might roll around in some $100 bills for a second just to bask in it. But I don't think a lot of people do that. I think a lot of other people are just like, all right, let me get that off my plate. It's taken care of. Everyone's taken care of. We're good for a long time. And now I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to play football. I think you're happy to get the business side of things. And that's exactly what Saquon Barkley shifted to. The Eagles haven't invested. They have not invested greatly in this position. Well, what do you think about that? Yeah, I love playing football. But basically, that's how he answered the question. All right, yes, we have that nuisance of me getting $26 million guaranteed off the table. It's out of the way. It's off the plate. And now I just concentrate on running out there on that green grass. Yep. I think that's exactly what you want to hear from a guy you just gave the most lucrative deal ever for a running back in your history. That's pretty good. That's pretty good for Saquon Barkley, especially when the Eagles have been basement shopping, cellar shopping for running backs, similar to linebackers going into this offseason. And now they've kind of – I'm going to hold off on saying change philosophy because change of philosophy generally means what you do on the field. I'll put it to you like this. They've changed philosophy and spending. I need to see a change in scheme. Run to pass ratio and all that. I still don't think we're going to see much difference there. But as long as the ball's in Saquon Barkley's hands more and he's making plays for it, then we're all happy. We're all happy. But I love the idea of him saying, you know what? Yeah, happy to get the business done. Now it's all about playing football. The other thing, and the last thing that really jumped out to me about Saquon Barkley and what he had to say, a couple other just real quick notes. He talked to Miles Sanders. Briefly, he'll have a longer conversation with him. Obviously, they were teammates at Penn State. Knows the city's mindset. Said he wishes he handled the goodbye with the New York Jets differently New York Giants differently. He did post to X last night saying that basically thanks for everything, the support, loves you all, blah blah blah. Likes the weapons, being near the family. Hurts' mentality is something that he loves. He wants to play for that guy. Not concerned with the drop-off because he takes care of his body. Does talk to Barry Sanders. Met him when the Lions and Giants had a joint practice, I think, in training camp last year. So they've been talking. And the last thing. It's something I've talked about, and we got into this with Pat Leonard earlier in the week of the New York Daily News. The RPO. Kellen Moore would be stupid to not use an RPO. I think he would be stupid if he came in here with just Jalen Hurts and some other running back, even if it was just Kenny Gainwell or if they re-signed DeAndre Swift, to not use the RPO. Add Saquon Barkley into the mix, and Saquon Barkley said it yesterday during his press conference. He brought it up. He wasn't asked about the RPO. He also wasn't asked about the tush push. But he was asked about, just playing in this offense, whether you can do in this offense. He goes, you get me in an RPO with Jalen Hurts, watch out. And I was like, all right, write this down. Kellen Moore better be using the RPO this upcoming season because Saquon Barkley wants to make defenders look foolish with him and Jalen Hurts. I laid it out for you yesterday. You're an edge rusher, a linebacker, whatever the case may be, a DN, and you get into the backfield, and it's just you, and you see Jalen Hurts, and you see Saquon Barkley, and Jalen Hurts has the ball in the gut of Saquon Barkley. In that moment, you got to go, who am I getting? In that moment, who do you choose? Pop quiz, edge rusher. You have the ball in the belly of Saquon Barkley and in the hands of Jalen Hurts. Who are you going after? That's going to be difficult. I look forward to seeing them try to make that decision. I will enjoy every ounce of that. So that was, I thought it was interesting that unprovoked, he brought up the idea of bringing up using the RPO. Bryce Huff, just going to run through a couple of points from Bryce Huff and Zach Bond yesterday. One, I was like, did Boston Scott sit down? Bryce Huff looks just like, it's just something that didn't occur to me until I saw him with the Eagles backdrop behind him. I went, that's Boston. No? Okay. But anyway, again, talking about the culture, talking about a more expanded role. He's confident he can do it all, as one would assume. He said Brandon Graham, again, being the statesman, he already hit him up. They were talking. That's great to hear. Talked about the keys to expanding his role all come down to preparation. He said the reason he had the breakout season that he had, one was opportunity. The other was concentrating on exploiting his opponent's weaknesses. Now, what does that mean? That means he studied more. That's what it means. He said two things, and this is true for every single athlete, I think, that's ever had a breakout season, even if it was his rookie season or it was his third year in the league. For Bryce Huff, for instance, that this is something that is true for everyone. You get stronger and you get smarter. You're studying, you're getting more experienced. Exploiting weaknesses in opponents. That means he is studying film on the guys he's going to be lining up against. And the other thing that really helps him is his versatility. You can be able to play on both sides of the line of scrimmage there, or I should say, both sides of the defensive line there. So that's a great thing. But also just flat out getting stronger, letting that strength catch up with his speed, that God-given ability of the speed that he has. That's why he had a breakout year with 10 sacks last year with the New York Jets. Said he was asked about competing for a starting spot. The guy just got $51.1 million. He's starting. This isn't. He's starting. The Eagles didn't sign this guy to be a part-time player. You don't sign a $51.1 million deal and ride the pine. I'll put it to you like this. He ain't playing 41% of the snaps this year. He's going to be playing significantly more snaps this year. He is going to be starting. The Eagles didn't sign, and I don't mean this as disrespectful to Brandon Graham. I love Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham's been on the show. Love the guy. I don't mean this as disrespect. But at the point he's at in his career, you're not paying Brandon Graham what you're paying Bryce Huff for obvious reasons. Brandon Graham and Bryce Huff played right around the same percentage of snaps last year and started right around the same amount of games. 1. 0 or 1. That's not what you signed Bryce Huff to be. You're expecting him to take this promotion and run with it and stop other people from running. That's what you expect from him. So he's most proud of his toughness in his game, his ability to get off at the snap. That's something that he really prides himself on. When it comes to winning one-on-one battles, he really likes to use his strength, which I was a little surprised by, considering speed, I think, is his best attribute. And then really spoke well of Vic Fangio. Now, you can file this under, what's he gonna say? But, pointed to Vic Fangio's history in the league, alluded to, that other teams run his scheme as well. Also talks about, just helping out in any way he can. Whatever the team needs of him, he's going to do. So it's not going to be the situation that we went through last year of Hassan Reddick, who I also love and respect, but snickering at the idea of being dropped back and covered 7 times in one game. I love the idea of him wearing the number 0. 47 with the Jets and 0 with the Eagles. Says he just thinks it's a cool number. And a lot of the other single-digit numbers were taken. So he wanted to wear the number 0. I ain't mad at him for that. Says the biggest difference from him as an undrafted player to right now is just the strength. That's the biggest difference that he has gone through since becoming an NFL player. One more thing on Bryce Huff as far as the reason for his breakout season. He also talked about committing to a schedule. Some people just thrive in a schedule. They just need that kind of routine, and apparently that's what he set for himself going into last year. Zach Bond, interesting press conference. I'll put it to you like this. Easy guy to root for is how I'll say this. Easy guy to root for. Seems like a chill dude. Definitely up for whatever the team needs. Doesn't mind the term hybrid linebacker. Played 83% of the special teams with the Saints last year. And then offensively or defensively speaking, I think 23% of the snaps defensively. Again, he only started 14 games for the Saints over 4 years. So that is not great. He's also not what you're looking for in a linebacker. And an edge rusher, okay. All right. Just leads you to believe even more so that Josh Sweat or Hassan Reddick or both aren't going to be back next year. I still think Sweat is the one who goes and Hassan Reddick stays in Philadelphia. I saw my friend Jeff Kerr of CBS Sports put it out there as well that point blank, Hassan Reddick wants to be in Philadelphia. So all in all, he'll find a way to stay in Philadelphia, and I hope that is the case. Played against Saquon Barkley in college, sort of. Zach Braun was a special teamer, and Saquon was running up and down the field with Penn State. He said he was a high school quarterback, and then he paraphrased, like, okay, hold on a second. He explained. He's like, all right, hold on. Maybe not the high school quarterback. I was more of a running back in the quarterback position. I just took the ball and ran the option every play. All right, I can see that. That's not uncommon for a lot of athletes in the NFL in general. Good friends with TJ Edwards. TJ's told him that he loved Philadelphia and that Zach Ball is going to love Philadelphia. So TJ's singing our praises. Look at that. Before I go any further, that's the world of football. I'm giving my reaction to Devin White. I'm giving my reaction to Saquon Barkley's comments, Zach Ball and Bryce Huff. The Philadelphia 76ers played a little basketball game last night, and it did not end the way I wanted it to end. They lost to the Milwaukee Bucks, despite actually opening up at one point a 12-point lead. But they took a 114-105 loss. Tyrese Maxey, he looked a lot better. He dropped 30 points. He had 18 points in the first half, which was more than his total. What was it, 17 points in his first game back? Tyrese Maxey last night. I don't know what this was, but I saw a lot of off-balance shooting from Tyrese Maxey, more than what I'm used to seeing. Like, it was like JJ Redick-esque. You know, where he's dribbling, picking up the ball all in one motion, still momentum carrying him to his left or right and throwing up the shot. And he was making them. He was hitting them, especially in the first half. Last night, though, 5 for 9 from beyond the arc. Nice to see that. 12 for 23. Dropped in 30 points, like I said. But I was just surprised. It was just one of those things you don't really see from Tyrese Maxey too much. And last night, especially in the first half, I was like, that is JJ Redick, Marco Bellinelli-esque. The off-balance three like that. But hell, it was working for him. So keep on cooking there, my friend. Sixers kind of fell apart in that second half. Lost the third quarter by 5, and then lost the fourth quarter by 12. So it kind of fell apart. Not great. But that's what went down with your 76ers last night. Flyers, they lost to the Toronto Maple Leafs 4-1. And that's not even, 6-2 was the final. I think 4-1 was when I stopped checking in. But 6-2 was the final. Not the biggest story in hockey, though, last night. Okay, I hate the Pittsburgh Penguins. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But I found this to be hilarious. They were honoring Jaromir Jagr. There's a lot of honoring going on for Jaromir Jagr in Pittsburgh, okay? Like, they really poured on thick with their athletes. They had, like, a retirement night for them. The entire team wore the Jaromir Jagr, 90s wig with the flowing locks in the back. The basically mullet perm. Mullet perm, I think, is an appropriate way to describe Jaromir Jagr's hair in the 90s. Tell me I'm wrong. I'm not. So anyway, and that was all great. I can respect the hell out of Jaromir Jagr. Loved him when he was with the Flyers, of course. I thought he was like a double agent. Like he was going to take off the Flyer sweater. It was going to be a penguin underneath. Whatever. But anyway, I've grown to really love and appreciate Jaromir Jagr. So anyway, they're honoring him again last night with 18,000 Jaromir Jagr bobbleheads. However, they were stolen. Jaromir Jagr even tweeted out, all right, has anyone seen my 18,000 bobbleheads? Somebody stole them. Somebody stole a truck full of bobbleheads. And he goes, wait a minute, hold on. Actually, I have one, so it's only 17,999 bobbleheads. I'm looking for 17,999 bobbleheads. Great job, Jaromir Jagr. That's hilarious. Here's what's even better, though. Gritty of the Philadelphia Flyers tweeted out the gift from Game of Thrones. Tell Cersei I want her to know it was me. That's the best story in hockey, as far as I'm concerned, from last night. Let's before we get into the chat check, let me tell you about MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Take advantage of all MyBookie has to offer at MyBookie.ag. Want to bet on all the action? Bet on it at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Download the app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farsi. You can get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. You want to bet on the world of hockey, basketball, baseball, whatever the case may be, baby? You can bet on it all at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. And if you've betting on sports ain't your thing, bet on the world of television. Bet on the world of politics. Have yourself some fun at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. How about the amazing people at the Game Time app? You want to go to the concert? I saw Nate Bergazzi was just in Philly. Could have gotten tickets on the Game Time app. You can go see that big comedian. You can go to the big event. Go to the game. Go to the Sixers. Go to the Flyers. Whatever the case may be. On the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy, and you get $20 off your first purchase at the Game Time app. They have flash ticket deals, last-minute ticket deals for an hour after the event starts. So you might miss the opening act, the middle act. You'll still see the headliner at a great low price at the Game Time app. And if you find tickets in the same section and row for less money elsewhere, oh, baby. Game Time will get you back on 110% of the difference. That's the Game Time guarantee. So download the Game Time app to your phone. Use promo code Farzy when you create an account to get $20 off your first purchase. How about PHL Sports Nation? Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. And finally, how about our friends at Sky Motorcars? SkyMotorcars.com. Check out all the amazing inventory from our friend Brett at Sky Motorcars. SkyMotorcars.com. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are feeling on all this. All this I just lay before you. All right. Keep the main thing, says Daquan Barkley. Daquan Barkley. Thank you. Dev, good morning. IBH, good morning. Jason A, good morning, y'all. How are we running the NFL so far? Did I see somebody actually put out a Howie Roseman jersey? If somebody would have told me after Howie Roseman was rehired as the director of football operations for the Philadelphia Eagles after Chip Kelly, that within 7 years, you would have a jersey that people would want to buy a Howie Roseman? That's pretty funny. I saw Darius Slay's wife, Jennifer Slay say that, where can I buy a Howie jersey? Eric Wisniewski, what I miss with Barkley? Oh, some dry snitch. I saw somebody say capping. Maybe some capping. I don't like that word capping. I think capping is stupid. I think it's a stupid word. But anyway. Jason A, I like the White signing because it's a 1 year, especially if we still draft a linebacker in the second round. Yeah, I put it this way. I like signing Devin White. Okay? I don't like $7.5 million. I need more information on $7.5 million. It's not $7.5 guaranteed. I need to know what's guaranteed. That's the way I'll look at it. Especially when I was like, now hold the phone. If he gets 7.5, I'm pretty sure TJ Edwards is in that range because he signed a 3-year, $18 million deal. So I'm like, he's probably around that range in the second year. And sure enough, I looked it up, exactly the same, 7.5. Fuji, what's going on? They Legion of Boom being rebuilt in Philly, says EC1 Football. I hope so. I would call it, hopefully the gangrene's getting rebuilt, but I don't think that's happening. Because when you say gangrene, that implies you're going to just destroy quarterbacks. And I don't really think that's going to be the goal of this team. Because that's not the goal of Vic Fangio. All depends on how they draft, says Dan Kwan. So looking forward to it. I did see, worth noting, should have said this in the open. I didn't. Me scusi. The Eagles did schedule a meeting with Edgerrin Cooper. Fingers crossed. I like the Devin White signing. Big Still says the kid is super talented, but isn't the most motivated, person and plays what he wants to. I didn't see Sills say that. Sills would know. Hutch, thank you. But that does not match Philadelphia. Does that match anything I just played for you from Saquon Barkley? That matches Philadelphia. A guy being like, don't feel like playing this time. That does not match Philadelphia. You bring that lunch pail. April. Good morning, April. Babs, what's up, Babs? Oh, saw the GSL episode. Oh, thank you. Oh, you called me Hun. Oh, man. Two things about my American culture, because I'm half Philadelphian, and I would say, I mean, I've grown up here. I lived in Baltimore for 3 years. My mom's from there. I would call myself, well, I'm 100% Philadelphian. Yeah. 99.9, because I do find that I have a warm place in my heart for the Orioles, because my grandfather was an usher. Anyway, I tell you all that to tell you this. Hun in Philly and in Baltimore are huge, just huge. They drop in a Hun on somebody, and usually when it's said, as I assume Babs is saying it, Hun, in that like, so your GSL Hun, like, oh, it's an embrace. It's not like a Hun, I already emptied the dishwasher. You know what I mean? Like one of them deals. But that's very nice. Thank you, Babs. Appreciate it. Great sports legends then and now. Sean Kilrain. If you missed it, I gave you a shout out because I think you're the one that mentioned Devin White to me yesterday. Honestly, not worried about the contract. Good. 9 times out of 10, I tell people, don't worry about the contract. It's not real money anyway. And here's why it's not real money. Because at any moment, Howie Roseman could restructure a deal, and all of a sudden money opens up. Or the Eagles flat out cut somebody, and you don't know the inner workings of the deal. Sometimes you do. James Bradbury, dead money. Yee. But other times you don't. Okay. Sean Kilray. Devin White and the Eagles are a perfect match, essentially because they are in desperate need of each other. Sean Kilray. I'll take it. All right, I'll file that in my optimistic file. I'll give that to Paulie Pom Poms. Not that it's a Paulie Pom Pom comment, but it's more along the lines of a Paulie Pom Pom. But I do like it. Why is it great? Because they need each other. Devin White needs the second chance, and the Eagles need a linebacker. Huffman wearing number 0, his nickname. I like it. Roland, what's going on? Roland? It's not about individual contribution. The question is how he fits into the scheme, and I'm sure Vic sees it the same way. Oh, sees something in him. Yeah, I agree. But if the player's attitude is straight ass, then that ain't good. Everyone agrees. What's up, Jason A? Sean Gillespie, good morning. Eagles will draft a linebacker as well, but again, hoping the kid is a stud. Hutch, you and I are on the same page. Huff will be wearing 0. His nickname is going to be 0 Huffs. That's funny. Jays? What's the Jays mean, Farzy? The Jays? What are we talking about? I'm lost. No, James Franklin is capping. I've heard the phrase because I don't like to brag, but I am on TikTok. I heard it's like, oh, whatever. I'm not going to get that. I hear the kids using the word a capping, right? That's cap or that's capping, right? I'm just going to tell you, I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. I don't care if it makes me sound like an old man. Sean Gillespie says, not dry stitching, just straight hating. Now, hating, I understand. I thank you very much. April, Mark's still dry snitching. Can't help it. Once a dry snitcher, always a dry snitcher. You know what I'm saying? All right, here we go. Dan Quabark. That's not dry stitching. You just mistook who it was. Dry stitching is saying something you did wrong. But isn't that dry stitching on yourself then? If you're saying what you did wrong. J-State, no, dry stitching is nonchalantly giving up juicy information that could possibly cause drama without realizing it. That's what I'm talking about. That's how I understand dry snitching. Barkley is the ultimate team guy. He's perfect for Philly, and I'm so happy for it. There you go, Jason A. I'm going to need more on this dry snitching because now we have conflicting reports. I literally did look it up because I wanted to make sure I was using it right. And I forget what player said it the other day, but they literally told somebody to look. They have to look it up on Urban Dictionary is what they told him. Indirectly telling secrets. Yeah. Or offenses to a person of authority or any person meant to be kept away from a secret or an offense. That did not sound like Urban Dictionary. Hold on. Hold the phone here. Hit that button. Urban Dictionary. Here we go. You know, the credible source. A snitch is someone who informs on others. Okay. Often to authorities, doesn't give a. It's just talking about snitching. Come on. What's happened to Urban Dictionary lately? Anyway, all right. We may never know, folks. We may never know. Wine Niners Wine. Good morning, Farzi. Good shows. Thank you very much. Love you and Bill chopping it up. We do have fun. We have a good time. Kicking into the chat daily to throw some positivity your way, like you do for all of us. Aw, Wine Niners Wine. Thanks. Appreciate you. Name a quarterback, running back duo who can squat with Jalen and Saquon combined. I can't. The Giants were truly disrespectful to Saquon. They have only themselves to blame. Sean Gillespie, I will put as the president of that Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber really comes off to me as like a bitter dude. He was a really good running back, but like he just really comes off to me as a bitter dude. I don't know why. There's just something about him that just comes off like that guy's bitter, man. Maybe because the Giants won after him. I don't know. Dan Quan Barkley. I love Saquon already. You don't say Dan Quan Barkley. Jason, it's okay. We at least know we will take care of Saquon very well here in Philly. Eric Wisniewski. I love his attitude. How could you not love his attitude? It's a lovable attitude. Giants backup quarterbacks. Oh, geez. How did I forget this? Thank you, Sean Gillespie. Justin Fields. The rumor is that he's going to be dealt. The Bears are going to trade him. Would you welcome him here to Philadelphia? Yes. And people, like, the Eagles reportedly offered Joe Flacco, a deal. And he turned it down. And the Eagles were looking for a backup quarterback. Marcus Mariota has moved on. The Eagles are looking for a backup quarterback. Would you bring in Justin Fields? I would. And I never subscribe to, oh, well, you can't do that to Jalen, or you can't do that to the starting quarterback. I'm like, what? Bring in a worse quarterback to be his backup? Like, what? That doesn't bother me. And Jalen, I don't think, gives a rat's ass. I can't be the guy that has told you for the last 3 seasons that the reason I have more confidence in Jalen Hurts than I did Carson Wentz is because Jalen seems mentally headstrong, stubborn at times. You want that. Testadora, okay? That's what he seems. You want that in your quarterback. You want that. Carson Wentz didn't have that. Mentally soft. Jalen Hurts, to me, doesn't come off as mentally soft, insecure. So you bring in Justin Fields. Hey, look, I was happy the Eagles brought in Marcus Mariota because you brought in a quarterback that could be mobile, that could do some of the things that Jalen could do. Not nearly as well, but a similar skill set. Not at the same level. Let me say that one more time for the people in the back, but could perform similar skills. Justin Fields can also do that. Justin Fields is not taking Jalen Hurts' job. Would I bring in a quarterback like that? Yeah, but the money's right. I don't think it's happening, but I wouldn't be opposed to it. Oh, definitely. Roland, definitely. Favorite part of the press conference was him saying it's a good sign when an 11-6 team and has a playoff appearance is considered a down year. Excellent. I don't know why I don't have it in my notes. Yeah, he did say that. That was great. Saquon Barkley said 11-6 and making the playoffs is a down year. I want to be on that team. That's exactly right. Excuse me. Eric Wadzinski, how isn't shopping at Dollar Tree this year? Well, here's the thing. I understand your point, Eric. Here's my only concern. You're right, in essence. However, I also don't want him to go to the dollar store and spend $20 on something, on one thing. Overpaying. Got to see a lot of angry runs with Saquon, says Sean Kilrain. I hope so. Sean Kilrain on Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio will find a way to get the best out of White. His pass rushing ability is certainly a nice attribute with 23 career sacks and 64 quarterback hits generated. Certainly. A lot of comments coming in here all of a sudden. Hello. I think Bond could be an underrated asset. I hope so, Dan Kwan. Jay Stay, Sixers could have won that game. They could have won that game. Wait, there we go. Transistor Zed! Where you been? Let's see. At first, I was skeptical about spending that much on a running back, but with the skill set Barkley has, I think that might be my favorite move of the offseason so far. Bill asked me yesterday. Bill Calarulo asked me yesterday. He goes, "What's your favorite move of the offseason?" I said, "I hate to be captain obvious here, but it's Saquon Barkley." It's not even close. It really isn't. I look at Saquon Barkley and I'm like, proven commodity, generational talent, one of the best running backs in the NFL. Done. Don't overthink this. Bryce Huff rarely played on running downs, rarely played against the run. One job, get the quarterback. And they got the quarterback 10 times this year. I like the move. I still have questions about whether or not he can, step it up with more responsibility. Saquon about to go off, says Dan Kwan. Is it Dank? Did you change your name? Dankwan? Is it Dank? It's supposed to be Dankwan? I've been saying Dan Kwan. All right. KJ, I still have a problem with this. People are so worried about the money like it's their own money. Relax. Usually my philosophy. Think Howie don't know what he's doing with the money. I think he knows what he's doing with the money. That's why I said I'm not going to do what a lot of other people might do and just lose their minds right now when it comes to $7.5 million. But I am going to be like, I didn't see the details on that deal. I didn't see the details. Again, for what's across the way is that you could have had TJ Edwards. Look, is the upside greater with Devin White? Yes. But I'm talking about a proven commodity, knowing what you're getting. I would have rather had TJ Edwards. But if the deal, again, turns out to be, $3 million, and the incentives can kick it up to 7.5, then okay. And I'm sure those numbers will come out. Dirty D, what's going on? I'm ready for the draft in September already. As am I. April on Tiki Barber. He's not even the better Barber brother. You're right. The Giants made it to that one Super Bowl with Jim Fossil. When he fired, God, people forget about this. He fires, well, he doesn't fire, but he takes the play calling. Do you remember that? Jim Fossil took the play calling away from Sean Payton. And the Giants went to a Super Bowl. They got blown out by the Ravens that year. But I can honestly say that, Rondé Barber caused more heartbreak for me in total than Tiki Barber ever did. So, April, I would agree with that. Charles Young, but the idea would be the Bears pay a lot of that, like 26.5 million. Carson was stubborn. He was stubborn in the bad way. Hard-headed is probably what I should have said in. All right, I'll get there. I'll get there, Dan Kwan. I'll get there. No, because I want a veteran QB for Hurts. I would take that too. I'd prefer that. Terrence, Justin Fields, good addition. If not, draft Spencer Rattler. They did meet with him. Draft him late. Same skill set as Jalen, less runner, but great arm and talent. Okay. Dank won. Who won? Dank won. Barkley. Thank you. Appreciate you. Bring Foles back. Hey, who's just in town signing autographs? Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful, as per usual. Oh, Tracy Suzanne. It's only a smoking gun what James Franklin said, if that's what happened. True, but that's how the NFL and maybe bitter Giants fans, that's how they're going to look at it. Look, he said that he spoke to the GM. That would be the smoking gun. Right now, all it is the reason that the NFL is investigating. That's the only reason. I still think what happened is what Saquon said happened. Because, again, this is not Howie's first rodeo. Howie is not going to talk to the player. Howie's going to talk to the agent. If you know that's like the one thing you could get called on during the legal tampering period, you ain't going to do it. So I don't think he did it. How about that? Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful, as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars, SkyMotorCars.com. After losing last night, your 76ers are going to be back on the hardwood with Tyrese Maxey. Hopefully he's still cooking. That'd be nice, right? After their loss last night to the Bucks in Milwaukee. The Sixers are back at it against the Charlotte Hornets. Tomorrow night, 7 o'clock tip-off. Then Monday, they got the Miami Heat at 7:30. So make sure you guys check that out as well, both home games. One interesting little tidbit I saw from John Clark of NBC Sports Philadelphia on Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid, there was two things. One was Ramona Shelburne 2 days ago said that Embiid right now is not ready to play. He's nowhere near ready to play. However, the season's over in like a month. So John Clark came out. They're still hopeful that he can return at the end of the year. John Clark put it out there yesterday as well, saying that there is a possibility that Joel Embiid does play before the end of the year, and things seem to be progressing. But it's still going to be more than a minute before we can see him playing basketball for the 76ers. So keep our fingers crossed for that. Thanks for watching. How dare I? Flyers have their carnival on Sunday. If you haven't gotten tickets yet, make sure you get your tickets to go to the Flyers Carnival. Yours truly, representing my Philadelphia Wings, I will be in the dunk tank on Sunday. So I look forward to that. I've done that 3 times now. You can always tell the people with the laser focus that are going to get me in the dunk tank. So I usually go earlier in the day, which is what I prefer, because they don't change that water. You know what I'm saying? They don't change that water. Flyers are back at it tomorrow night against the Boston Bruins in Boston, 7 o'clock puck drop. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. A lot of fun this week with you guys. Really enjoyed the shows this week in particular. Really appreciate it. Have a great weekend, yous guys. Have a great weekend. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Have a great weekend. See you guys Monday.